goddamn get it on, will ya? Woo. When I blow up now, everybody's so unusual with it. Shit. But said times in his rhymes, cause his memories, we running through New York.
Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing another N52 video, and today I'm going to be talking about why the N52 engine is one of the greatest engines ever made by BMW. So let's go over to the engine. I'm going to show you and tell you why this is one of the world's greatest engines still to this day. So as you'll see here guys, this is the N52 platform. Many of you guys already know this. A lot of you on my previous video were asking me if your N51 is valuable, if your N52K is valuable. A lot of you guys were also asking me if you have the 3-stage manifold. This is the silver top engine cover, so this already comes with the 3-stage manifold because the N52 B30. I was also getting a lot of comments saying about the N52 B25, B23. Don't compare this to the N52 B25 and B23. That is an oil drinker. It suffers with valve stem issues and does burn oil. Also, it's a very underpowered engine. Most of them only come with one disvalve, and they used a different piston ring on them and also a different bore size, and that's why you guys don't get the same power as you do from the N52 B30. The stem seals itself were a different brand on these on the engines, vice versa to the B30, to the B23 and B25. So that's another reason I just want to explain all this in this video right now, that these are the differences. The N51 engine is not a highly sought after engine. Just want to make a lot of you guys aware, and that's not my problem. That's just because it's a super ultra low emission vehicle. It's riddled in emissions. Nobody's going to want that. It's not an easy engine to just pull out and put into another car, and it's very restricted on its power based on the fact that it's a emission vehicle. Therefore, it's not as highly desirable as this engine. So I just want to go over a few things why this engine's probably one of the greatest engines BMW ever made. So the first one that many of you guys know, it was the last naturally aspirated engine. Now a lot of guys are going to come here and start saying that the N53 was the last naturally aspirated engine. Yes, for the UK and EU. We cannot bring that engine into this video that the US never got, because it's unfair to class that as the last naturally aspirated engine on an engine they never actually received. So the last naturally aspirated engine ever worldwide was the N52 engine, so we're going to leave it as that. The N53 is not included in this, so you guys please refrain from putting your comments that the N53 was, because I know that, but the US never got that, so we're not going to class that as the last naturally aspirated engine. But being that this was the last naturally aspirated engine, as I told you in my last video, this engine is highly desirable now, and more people are wanting it. And everyone's saying they would never fit this to this car, they'd rather fit the M4. But I'm going to show you right now, I have a lot of people messaging me right now for E30s, E36s, where they're putting this engine in their cars. That is not a joke, and I'm sure a lot of them who watch these videos will already know that and probably comment. They are fitting this engine over the M54, which is the M for mother 54 engine, into their car. Nobody wants that M54 engine. It's not reliable, it's not desirable, nobody wants that. They want the N52, and this is the engine that people are grabbing and putting in. I've got guys messaging me asking me to do them ECUs to manage to make the N52 run on their E30s. And no, they are not riddled in electronics, as people like to say. They're very easy to delete certain things, so you don't have to worry about the electronics. The next reason why this engine is probably one of the greatest engines is, as many of you guys probably, if you do or don't know, this engine won awards twice. One in 2006, one in 2007 for being the greatest engine BMW had ever produced. So that's another bonus to having this engine. That being said, when people see that on the charts as being the last naturally aspirated engine, a lot of people are not aware of what the N52 engine is. So then what do? They go and research N52 engine. When they find out how great this engine is, how much power it produces, everyone wants in, because this is the last engine they see that BMW ever produced, which is naturally aspirated on the awards list. So then they come over to it. So as they come over to this engine, they're becoming rarer and rarer, as I told you in my previous video as well, because it's going to become the greatest engine of all time. And I'm telling you guys right now, keep these engines, because you're going to find it very hard push to actually go and buy another one. Now, to explain why that is. A lot of people are on this mythical belief that when you get the tick in, you need a whole new engine. And a lot of shops in the US, a lot of shops even here, if they can't diagnose BMW, they will say that the engine is completely blown in to get a new engine. So as more people are telling you need a new engine, which you actually don't, you end up with the fact that these engines are becoming rarer and rarer and rarer, and less quantity of them, which then means they're more desirable and more wanted. For instance, I know if I broke this, someone's going to buy this immediately for the engine. that's why I wouldn't do it, especially because it's the silver top. Now, as you guys know, the 130R won a lot of awards because of this engine inside it, because of being an ultra fast hatchback at the time. You know, with 265 brake on the 130R was incredibly fast for a naturally aspirated engine, and it pulls like an absolute beast. And this is no different. This is still punching 258 brake even on the BMW 60. Why is that, you might ask? Well, the reason this makes the greatest engine of all time as well is it's a magnesium block, the first ever by BMW that they ever produced, a magnesium block engine, which is very lightweight and very, very easy to install in all engines. And obviously its power to weight ratio, they made this engine very light so it can be fitted and still get good power. Think if the engine was heavy and the car's heavy, you're not going to get that much power, but being this is lightweight and the car's heavy, it goes, it really does go. This manifold right here, the 3-stage manifold, is what makes all the difference to this N52 engine. Now, as I said to you guys, in the US, a lot of you only got this for a certain amount of time, then they took it away and you didn't have the 3-stage manifold at all. But this is a must. These cars make the best power with that 3-stage manifold on, and the torque is unmatched. You feel the torque and the power coming in throughout the whole band, and as you guys know, it's not like a turbocharged car where it's naturally aspirated. The power comes in throughout the whole band very nicely and very smoothly, and it just pulls and pulls and pulls, and you don't need a turbo for that. That 3-stage manifold gives that torque nice and smooth as you would expect from an N52 engine. Now, another reason why this is the greatest engine of all time. Now, a lot of you are going to tell me this isn't the case because the M46 had it and it blast, so on and so on, was the first engine with it. Yes, only in the UK and EU again. But in the US, this was the first engine, and the same as here worldwide, that used the Valvetronic system, which is variable valve lift, which has used the eccentric shaft to advance the timing and give more power. The Valvetronic motor was installed for the first time on this engine worldwide, and that is what made this engine probably one of the best engines BMW ever made, based on that Valvetronic motor. So I've just got word as well that somebody has managed to develop a turbo for the M52 engine, and it's actually a very easy bolt-on with a new exhaust manifold as well. You'll be able to bolt on the turbo to this engine with using all the same internals on your same M52 engine. Now, I'm already in contact with a person who's actually developed it. They're still testing it at the moment to make sure it's not going to cause any long-term issues, but there is a turbo actually developed for this engine now, and this is why, guys, this engine is going to become very, very highly sought after. And one of the reasons I said to you guys why I wouldn't get rid of this engine, because I knew someone was going to develop it and they've managed to make it work. So far, everything's looking up. And if that's the case, you guys know as well as I do, you guys are going to buy them like hotcakes, and you're going to end up seeing a flow of all the M54 guys coming over to the M52, because you guys know this engine is very reliable. But obviously they're making sure the pressure in the engine can withstand with all the gaskets on the oil filter housing, the sump gasket, the valve cover gasket. But I truly believe it will outstand it, and it will pass all their tests, and we'll end up seeing a turbo for this engine coming very, very soon. But they're now producing the turbo for this engine, and it is coming. Trust me, guys. Like I say, the guy I'm already in contact with, he told me not to say anything, and he's told me not to link anything just yet, because they want to get it further tested before they start selling it. But the turbo is going to match this engine to a T, and I cannot wait for that. So this is why, guys, this engine is going to become the greatest of all time for many reasons. As I said to you, the 3-stage manifold, the first engine with the Valvetronic, and the fact that it was the first magnesium engine they could ever put in an engine, and because of the lightweight, it produces so much power. And if the car's even light, this car will go. And you think of this on a Z4, a lot of you ask me on your 3-litre SIs, is this the engine you have? Yes, it is the engine you have, but you'll have the black valve cover with the 3-stage manifold. If it's an SI model, you will have the 3-stage manifold already. Okay guys, so there you have it. Now I've just gone over why the M52 is going to be the greatest engine of all time from BMW. So I hope this has cleared a lot of things up for you guys, and I hope now you see why you should not sell and you should keep your M52 engine. Because as I said to you, a lot of garages wrongly misdiagnose these engines, and then they're making people go and buy new engines for no reason. And you've got to remember, a lot of these engines, because they're not desirable like an M5 engine or an M3 engine, people are just throwing these engines straight into the bin, which is making them less and less popular, which then they're becoming rarer, which then means your M52 engine is going to become very highly sought after. You've got to remember, there's a lot of old people out there, old timers, who will not go to a turbocharged engine and will only stay with a naturally aspirated engine. This is the last naturally aspirated engine, and as parts move on and parts get cheaper, this engine becomes more affordable, which means more people want to pull it in their E30s, E36s, E46s even. That is what's going to happen. The M54, which is the M is not going to be as desirable as the N52 anymore. I assure you of that, guys. Like I said, I watch the prices all the time and I know what people are picking and choosing. The market is flooded with M54, nobody wants it. But if you look at N52 engines on eBay or anywhere, you'll find it very hard to even source one. Even here in the UK, I can't find another engine for this car at all anywhere. So thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.